Hello and welcome to Mom Coach Wife. My name is Alina Michelle, and today is Mompreneur Mondays. This is episode 10, and we will be meeting Natalie Steger of Great Social Club. I had an amazing time chatting with Natalie. We actually, I think, have reached a record for length in Mompreneur Mondays interviews. It was actually 2 hours long. I will admit, towards the end is a little blooper, but still, it was amazing talking with Natalie, and I'm so excited to share her interview with you all. Um, as you are well aware of at this point, if you've been following for a while, every single Monday I showcase a new boss mom on Mompreneur Mondays. And on Wednesdays, I connect with you about different little mom hacks, tips, and tricks to help you create balance within your life and to let you know that you're not alone out there. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so that you get alerted when a new video is available. And then also, if you like any of the videos that you watch, be sure to give them a thumbs up. It helps to spread this message of moms being more than just a mom to more moms all over the world. So I appreciate your support. Let's go ahead and meet Natalie. Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
So, first and foremost, I want you to just introduce yourself to everyone here and tell them how you are more than just a mom.
My name is Natalie Steger. I own Great Social Club as a PR and talent management agency. Um, I am a mom, but I am also a friend, a sister, an aunt, soon to be.
Oh,
Um,
congrats.
thank you. I'm so excited. You know, I just for the most part, I just feel like I'm not anything really special. You know, I'm just a person in this world. Um, and I kind of you go through all your different phases in life. And I'm in a phase where I can feel like I can make a difference or impact, even if it's a small one. And I think that's what motherhood has shown me. So I guess that's what kind of I'm all about is trying to create a better world and a legacy, to create a better digital community, a better world, to create a positive influence on others. And that's kind of what in the last year I've done with my business.
Awesome. Well, I love that you are trying to make a positive difference in the world. I think that that is so important to be a core of why people in general get into business. But I find that with moms, we have that caring spirit of wanting things to be better for our children, even when they step out into the world. So tell me a little bit about your family structure. One of my favorite questions to ask people is whether or not they have a pet, because I think that that really adds to the dynamic of your family life, whether or not you do or don't, because we're all juggling different things.
Well, we did have a pet. And actually, he was our first fur baby.
Oh,
We had two, and then the last one, he lived to about 18 years old. We just had to send him to doggy heaven.
oh,
I know. God, it's like just before Christmas. Um, he was a rescue Maltese. He was like a little foo-foo dog
oh.
that thought he was a black lab. He was like he jumped into the river, swam, rolled in dirt. I swear he hunted. But he was our dog, and by the time we had our kids, he was a senior citizen for the most part, yeah, senior dog. And but yeah, we had him for a while, and it actually taught our kids a lot to have like a lot of patience and things. And then we finally had to cross over the Rainbow Bridge. Was really hard for me. I'm like still sad about it, and
Okay.
we kind of. But now we're thinking about getting another dog, but probably not until we just sold our house and we're building a new home. So probably not until we get into our new home.
Well, congratulations on the new
Bigger
home.
dog. and
Yeah.
it's not gonna be my dog because I don't know if I could handle. I know I'm still gonna be sad. I don't know if I could handle that heartache again.
Yeah, it's hard. It's so hard when you lose a pet. Like some people that don't have pets don't get it, but like they literally are part of your family. We lost our one of our dogs. We had two chow chows and one of them passed away. And even though he was like the annoying one of the group, we still loved him and it was still kind of like an adjustment to not having two brothers running around. So yeah, I can
There's something
really
really
appreciate.
unconditional and special about a love you get from specifically from dogs,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just like they forgive. I guess a lot of us can learn from it, right? They forgive quickly and they love conditionally, even when they're like mad at you.
Oh
Just
yeah.
it's forgotten, and they want to sit right next to you and cuddle with you. So it's pretty beautiful, that kind of dynamic.
Oh yeah, and I love what it adds to the family. I know you mentioned your children like learning so much. Honestly, my daughter has learned sharing because of the
Yeah,
dog. A little too much because she gives them like all her food, but but that really helped her with sharing because she's an only child. So that was one of the things that was really a big deal. And on top of him being here and being a great addition to our family, it's also adds to for us. It adds to like the chaos because there's like that extra person that I gotta not person, but
yeah.
the extra person I gotta take care of.
Feels like it, you
I
know.
know because they communicate as well. Like, and you start once you've had them in your home for a while, you start to understand like how they communicate. Is like, oh, you're basically a furry person.
It is. And so like for Remy, he was older and he's always been a little bit of a grouchy dog in general. And it's actually it taught my kids to be one like forgiving, like when he's in a bad mood or wants to be left alone, and learn how to give people or just animals even like personal space and kind of
Hmm.
respect that. Um, and you know, and also I taught my daughter how to negotiate. So when she wanted to cuddle, she understood that she had like a treat or something of, you know, that
Some
he's
kind
not
of
right.
value
It's
to make it
lure him
happen.
over and he'll sit on her lap and she can pet him for a little while. So it's pretty great. And I miss him a lot. So he was probably, oh God, I knew he was with me throughout the entire time of like, my husband and I have been known each other for almost 20 years and I've like been in love with him forever. So it's probably been he's been like that little thing you cry into, and like I had a
Mhm.
fight with my husband when he was my boyfriend and all that. It was actually it has so many great memories, and I just try to hold on to that. So
Yeah. Yeah, they impact our lives in such a positive way. So, I mean, I'm really sorry that he's gone, but I'm happy that he was able to be in your life for so long.
I know.
Because that's actually a really good lifespan for dogs. I wish it was longer, but
Me too. Me too. That's why I said their second dog. I told Joe, my husband's like, it's solely the kids' dogs. Like I don't know if I could. I was like I would like I'm just like I can't do it again. It's like
yeah.
I'm still over. We had two dogs. I'm still not over the first one, and now with Remy gone, it's like I still think about them all the time. We have their picture on our wall, and I walk by to look at it. So
Yeah. Well, I will say this. This isn't from me because I'm not old enough to know how this works out, but from my mother-in-law, she did that for my husband.
mhm.
She got him a dog and basically ended up being her dog. Just so you know, just prepare yourself. Still get the dog for the kids,
I
but
know, I know.
because how old are your kids again?
They are 4 and 5.
Yeah, so like right now they're not gonna be potty training it. That's gonna be you. And
Oh, it's
so
me.
yeah,
Moms do it all.
yeah. I, initially we got our dogs before I found out I was even pregnant.
Mhm.
And so they're like really, really attached. Well, it's only one now, but he's really, really attached to me because my husband's just like, I'll take them outside. So he takes them outside, but they were basically my dogs. So but yeah. So you said you have two children, 4 and 5 years old. You had a dog, might get a dog in the future. What is your favorite thing to do with your family?
Jeez. You know, one of the favorite things we do is we just go play outside. We have a creek in our backyard, and we'll do random activities from like just roasting marshmallows or fishing, and just kind of running around. Like we're just kind of like wild folk. We live in Wyoming. It's the mountains. It's our backyard has like a little kind of like a wooded forest area, and we just kind of run around and scream and chase each other. And my son loves chasing turkeys, and there's so much like random wildlife.
It actually sounds like fun.
It is a lot of fun. And I love living here. I'm originally from DC. So I grew up right outside of DC in Northern Virginia. And then for 10 years of my adult life, from 18 until 28, I lived in DC. And so now that I've moved here, which was a huge transition, that's like a whole nother story. I became a mom, and I can't imagine living anywhere else but here, simply because of those things. Like this past pandemic, I finally had my first garden, and
hey, garden twins! I started mine in 2022.
So it was, because I always like, man, everything I touch dies, and it does. Like I can't even handle a cactus, like And
wait, you can't take care of a cactus?
No, everything dies.
They're like the easiest plant to take care of, Natalie.
Air plants. I got gifted air plants once. My best friend gave me air plants. They died. Air plants.
You sound like my best friend. She's the same way. Like she can't keep any. I don't know. We tried. We have like a group chat. We tried to like teach her how to take care of things. I've sent her like so many different things, and she took care of her parents' garden and like killed half of the stuff.
I know, but this year, my garden was just blooming. We had peas, pumpkin, squash, zucchini, cucumbers, carrots, onions, all the different herbs like cilantro, dill, and my tomatoes were like the best tomatoes.
Awesome.
And my kids, they helped me. They helped me from planting the seeds to just pulling out the weeds and picking the peas and all the different things that we had. And the kids really took a part of it. And we had fresh veggies all throughout the summer. And I kept saying, like, maybe I'll do canning. I never quite hit that goal. But it's definitely opened up another side of me that I've always wanted to do and never had time to do.
It's so much fun. Like
fun, and you feel such a satisfaction knowing that you did that from growing from seed to fruition of the vegetable and everything, and then you consume it. Oh yeah, we did spinach, lettuce, and kale too, and it is like the most empowering thing I've ever experienced. And now I know why people become so addicted to gardening, because you're nourishing your own body with something that you've grown and cultivated yourself.
And you know what's in it.
Yeah.
So like you can feel confident about what you're giving your children and not be scared. I know I've read so many ingredients. Like my husband and I were literally just reading the ingredients on a chili sauce and we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have bought this.
So good.
Right? It's like, maybe. So we actually found a recipe and it's actually really easy to make. So the pandemic definitely inspired us to make so many more things at home too. My garden wasn't as dope as yours though. I need to step on my life. I wasn't able to get my lettuce to grow. That was the thing that lettuce is supposed to be like one of the easiest things to grow apparently. And that was the one thing that didn't come up. So I don't know what I did wrong.
Had seeds.
You did what?
The seeds just weren't like good seeds.
It could have been. We had one type that came up, but like I planted spinach, kale, some like random lettuce that actually came up. I don't even remember what it was called, but my spinach and kale didn't come up. And then I planted watermelons, but I planted them like way too late. Yeah. So they didn't come up either. But we had strawberries until like October.
That's great.
Crazy. In Michigan, to have strawberries until October is like
unheard of.
Yeah, because it's usually cold by then.
Yeah.
My birthday's in the first week of October, and I've experienced snow on my birthday before. So.
Yeah, it sounds like Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean we're both like, because that's still Midwest, right? I'm horrible at geographic location.
West, but I mean. it's like right at the border of Midwest and West, but I guess
Yeah.
Wyoming's considered West.
Okay. Midwest, West, close
I know.
enough.
Technically, like South Dakota is like Midwest, and we're like right there. But I don't know. I always said Midwest when we moved here. My husband's like, no, it's West. I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Oh, you get the same weather we get though.
Yeah, it's the same. We get our winters. I mean, we can get snow. We can even get. I mean, shoot, we even get snow like in October, early October. Even depends on just whatever happens to the
Yeah.
weather. We have snow. I mean, we've had snow even in June.
Yeah, I've experienced snow one time in my life in the summer months. And I was young though; I was little when that happened. But yeah, I mean, I don't really understand how they decide what's Midwest and West and
I don't either.
yeah, it makes no sense to me because like when I
Buffalo
look at a
Bill, I
map, I'm
guess
like, we're like
Buffalo Bill,
northern, we're northern of
Buffalo
all the
Bill is
states.
out
Like,
here.
what is this Midwest thing?
Well, I was like, I told my husband, I'm like, well, I guess because Buffalo Bill and Annie Oakley hung out here, so it's like a Wild West. So that's why we're Western.
Yeah. There you go. We found a solution to what the craziness is of why we do our states this way. But yeah, the gardening thing is really dope and fun. I learned about canning also. You mentioned canning. I learned about canning at the end of our gardening. So we're gonna try it this year. Fingers crossed that it works. Because we had like a lot of stuff that we had to like either freeze or give away. Because
Yeah, that was well, that's what I wanted to do, but it takes some patience, which I maybe that's why I didn't do well with plants in the past. Is sometimes I lack patience. It's just something
hmm
that I'm constantly working on. Because my mother-in-law and those gals from the past, like my mother-in-law, my mom, and all them, they can do canning, pickling, and all this, and
yeah.
I'm watching them, and I'm tired. Like, can you just make me some?
Yeah,
Like,
can you just
bring it
like do
over.
two, one for me, one for you? Just take it
Yeah,
with me.
but it
Yeah.
is it is an art form. It takes so much patience and things like that, and even just the variation of like you put the vinegar in and then the different spices and herbs to give it different taste.
Yeah.
When they do pickling, it's pretty cool. And jams. I don't even know if I could ever attempt jams.
My dad says that jams are easy, but like I watched a video and it didn't look easy to me. It's like, oh, it's so simple. I'm like, I will burn that. Like, because the guy was like simmering, it had like a big pot and like boiling everything down. I'm like,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Yeah, but my
Um,
dad also like has done all the kind of farm life and owned chickens, which is something I want to do. I do want to own chickens one day. I think that would be
so
so
do
fun.
I. My husband won't. He
What?
won't let. He's like, do you know how? Like, I guess they're like they. You really got to take care of. Like, well, of course you got to take care of them. But he's like, they're a
Yeah.
lot of work. He's like, and you. I guess they're messy or
I never
dirty.
owned a chicken. I just think it would be fun.
So my husband knows all about this stuff. He's like, well, I got offered a bum lamb once, and
Oh.
so like they offered it for us to raise it, and I guess like once you raise it, you raise it to eventually for
Eat it?
eat it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and Papa Cowboy, it's our kid's godfather, and he was like, hey, we got bum lamb, I want it, and my husband's like, absolutely not. He's like, I was like, why? He's like, because you're gonna take care of it, and then you're gonna be like,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to buy it to eat it anyway. Like I would just have it as like my little farm pet.
but it's so cute, the bum lamb, like you feed it in a pen, and he was like, nope, not happening, Natalie. I'm like, all right, so, but which is right, and it's the same concept with chicken. Like so a lot of people hear all about like sustainable living and resourcing your own food and things like that, which I'm just starting to learn, and like really learn. I Since the pandemic, more or less, like I finally took the
Yeah.
time to kind of see how people do it, because we even have like a house down the street. They have chickens, and they have this little house, the garage or whatever. You put money in um, little slot thing
hmm
they have. Like you slide the money in there, and then you just grab the eggs.
Cool.
And now we have so many friends that have chickens, and they give us the eggs because I guess they make a lot
They
of
make a
eggs.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard they make like a lot of eggs.
but
So
it is good. And so I was like, I really would just like that, because I just watch the relationships of people that are doing it. They seem
mhm.
to have this like beautiful relationship with the chickens.
Yeah, they
And I'm like, I
do.
want more friends.
I need friends. Give me chickens. I just think that it's like so beautiful to like I don't want like a full-fledged farm because that's just too much work, but like a little
Yeah.
mini farm in my backyard would be kind of cool. And I know where I live, we can have chickens. I don't think I could have like a goat or a lamb, but I really liked going to, we went to the farm. That's like one of the things we like to do with our daughters, take her to the farm. And the goats were just so cute.
They are cute. They're really cute. They eat
Yeah.
everything.
But I mean, I just wouldn't be able to slaughter them. That would be my husband's job.
Yeah. I I couldn't either. I don't think it's one of the ugh, I couldn't either. I'd fall in love with all of them and be like, oh, you can't lay eggs anymore, then you're officially just like a family pet.
Right. Until you naturally pass on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like reasons why they don't do things that way, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's a lot of people do that, and like I've been really well educated. They've educated my friends, thankfully here, the different people here have educated me in that. And when I speak on it, I can speak on it like I know what I'm talking about, but deep inside, I know, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that I'm not the only crazy mama out here that wants chickens. So my
Yeah.
husband, my family actually that I have shared that with is like, why do you want chickens? Because it would be fun.
It is fun, and
And
it is.
fresh eggs.
Yeah, and it's a great thing too with the kids. I mean, for them to go in, get the eggs, and it's just like gives them work and purpose. And that's the one thing I like about the pet stuff. Like my kids like took care of Remy once they kind of like at this point, like towards his, as he gotten older, my daughter, my son would put food in the bowl, refill the water, and really take initiative in helping me. And like, thank goodness he didn't walk far. So I'd be like, open the door for Remy, and they just opened the door and they let him out
Mm-hmm.
to go outside in our yard. So it's pretty sweet.
Now let's kind of get into your business. It's
Okay.
I'm gonna screw this up because there's two, right? Or was it no? There's two social medias. There's your
No.
regular one.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
there's
me, my personal, and then the Great Social Club.
yes. So the Great Social Club. First, what was it about the name? Like, what made you choose that name?
Originally actually it was supposed to be a social media management company.
Oh.
So like social media management, social, and then I just kind of from there, like, I've always like wanted a creative community of some kind. And I figured that it might transform one day to something else or something more. And so I came up with Great Social Club. So it's like it is an actual club of people that think alike, have the same mindset, and different things like that can come together and be creative, or like a safe place for people to be just who they are. And I am kind of selective about the type of people I surround myself or want to be around. And I've learned this more and more about myself, especially through 2020. And that's kind of like I ended up doing a rebrand and relaunch, really honing in, I think, on something I've already known, but I just never quite could put a finger on it until this pandemic happened,
Yes.
Black Lives Movement happened, and just all these type of feelings that kind of came out to make me realize, like, who do I want to associate myself with and who I want to be with. So essentially it to me it's like a safe haven for
Mhm.
others that think like me, or want a place to make this place better, or just have like kind of the kind of values and things that are important to for me, really. In order for me to help you, I have to feel like I connect with you. um,
100%.
so that's kind of like it's my club. It's like the Great Social Club of people who just want to be great, no matter how big or small. They just want to be great.
I love that. I love that you did this to protect your own peace and essentially to protect the peace of the members of the club, because especially after this pandemic, it's like we've been subjected to so many different things as a society, and some good, some really not good.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's beautiful that you created the space
yeah.
with the intent to protect the peace, because that has been so important. And I know, speaking for myself, like my anxiety has been like at an all-time high in the last like year and a half, really, because even just slightly before the pandemic, there's just been so much going on in the nation and so many different things happening on top of what we already deal with day to day.
No.
And that was something that was really transformative in my own journey, was protecting my peace. I actually did it in, was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019. 2020 like blurred everything for me, so excuse me if I don't know what year it is, but yeah, it was 2019 when I like deleted a bunch of Facebook friends and unfollowed a bunch of people on Instagram. And it wasn't like to be like one of those people like, oh, I'm too good to follow you or something like that, but it was literally like that protect your peace thing, and it made a world of difference. Like,
It does. It does. And I feel like moms, when we have kids, we kind of lose our identity in a way. And well, I did, at least, maybe I don't know if everyone did, but I know other moms who I've spoken to kind of lose who you are. And I was like somewhere between like, I wanted to go back before I was even like no responsibilities, but then like I love my children and I love this side of this nurturing side of me that has grown. And I just kind of lost myself. And at one point, and just motherhood was hard. My son had, I slowed down on working. I had another business before this, was a luxury makeup business. Um, for almost 7 years, and here in Wyoming, oddly enough, and it was doing really well. And I slowed down when I had my son, and later my son got diagnosed with apraxia, and that kind of like put me in a tizzy, and I just couldn't find who I was. And I lost friendships and I lost different things. And that whole thing when people like toxic, get rid of the toxic things in your life or things that are not nourishing you. It took me like I think even maybe 2019 was a year of revelation or something. About 2019, I kind of, people just slowly found their way out. And it was when I was finally prioritizing my own mental health, self-care, self-love, and things like that. And then I think in a way I was feeling like I was in another place, and 2020 hit, and it just put me in another whole new loop to even go dig a little deeper. But by then, I think I've gained through motherhood all these tools to kind of climb out of this hole, to figure out who you are, to really find myself. And everything I learned in past 2019 and before through motherhood prepared me almost for 2020. I could almost,
I'm sorry. I'm over here tearing up because this is like literally what I went through myself. Like it's just crazy, like what we go through as moms, and that journey of trying to raise a life and also figure out your own life at the same time. Because to be honest, as human beings, we're doing that all the time anyway. Like we're always trying to figure out who we are, and then motherhood comes in and whatever different things your kid throws at you. So yeah, and I am a big baby, so I try to check myself, but yeah.
That's okay. I'm glad what I said resonated with you, because it was probably one of the most, I mean, it was hard on my marriage, my husband, myself. I mean, and I don't even know, I do have a sense, but men don't communicate like the way most women communicate,
Nope,
I
they
know
don't.
he was going through his own things or experiencing whatever I was projecting onto him too. And it was a rough patch. And finally we're in a place. That's why I said the pandemic forced us to slow down and just really evaluate what matters.
Yeah.
And in a way too, just made us realize, like, you know what, we are who we are. There's certain things about us that may not change, but it doesn't mean it's a weakness. It's just we're different.
Right.
And we are learning to really embrace that. And so hopefully, it feels like just like the ability for us both to empathize with each other has been better. And I'm grateful for that. And granted, like, we did everything, girl. We did marriage therapy, counseling, all this stuff. I finally actually hired my friend who's a business coach. and a personal coach. And I was like, hey, Tom, I just feel like my husband's such a logical person and he knows what we need to do. But I just feel like if someone just spelled it out like a business, it might just resonate better
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of work with us as like we're this like company, and I had just started my own company and I was kind of navigating through all that. And in turn, it was everything we already knew, and to have someone just structure in a way like, okay, what's your work culture, right? What's your
Right.
culture? What do you guys want to instill in your kids? What's your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? All these different thoughts and questions. So it kind of just helped us kind of navigate that. And then he's now helping with both of us with our businesses
That's
as well. It's
amazing.
kind of full circle, and it's been a really great thing. And yeah, sometimes that's kind of why I'm good at PR. Is I think outside the box. Like, who would have thought to hire a business coach to work on your marriage? Like
Yeah.
he's
That is definitely unique.
yeah,
I would not have thought that, but I see how it works because you
yeah,
realize your husband's a logical thinker. You realize like you had to communicate in a different way. And so sometimes you have to go outside of the box. And like
yeah,
I know for us, the pandemic made us like sit down and have some conversations that we weren't
yeah,
having. And like we realized like there were so many gaps in our communication that we hadn't even realized before. And it was like, well, if you would have said that, then I wouldn't have been mad at you.
yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. We actually took this. It's called a Clifton's Strengths Finder test. So it's
Mhm.
your top 34 strengths. My husband and I are polar opposites. Polar, like our top 20 are nothing alike. I'm all about relationships and things like that. He's all about futuristic thinking and like empower, like leading and things like that. So it's really interesting to see that. And then once we saw that, I kind of already knew that. Like as a woman, like we just have this intuition that we kind of understand people and our ability to empathize and things like that. And it took for him to really see it on paper, like, oh, yeah, we're opposites, Nat. I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
I've been telling you this since I said I love you, since the day
Yeah.
I said I love you. Um, but it's the reason why I mean, I could confidently say I've probably been in love with him for 20 years, and it's why we're
And that's
still,
probably why you guys
yeah,
balance each other out.
yeah,
The things that you aren't, he is, the things that he isn't, you are. So, and that's one of the things I had to accept in my own marriage too. And when you see those differences, it's not, it doesn't have to be something that's bad because nobody is perfect. So it's like, okay, well, the things that I don't necessarily value that you do value, you add that to the table because you come together as one. So it's, I can understand it
yeah.
fully. Thank
Well, now you guys know about my marriage.
right. But it's real. This is the real stuff that we go through, and that's why I created the series. Like this is real life of what moms go through. We end up becoming moms. We end up finding more about ourselves because we became moms. When we really decide to go down those journeys. And for those of us who are married and dating, like relationships are not always
They're not.
peachy.
They're not. And that was the thing. Like it's, like one of the things I have is like I'm a big fan of that word grit.
Hmm.
And I apply it to almost everything I do. And that was the one thing about my marriage is like I had to. It's so easy to just like say you're done and walk away. And I just like I really I know he's a good person. I know that he's a great father. I know that there was a moment in time when we were clicking and we got along and we got everything. And our life had drastically changed, becoming parents, living in Wyoming, everything from being working in the nightclubs, him and I, to living out in the mountains, hanging out with cowboys, it's a total different experience. And then becoming parents is like the who's the biggest change. And I changed. I know I
Hmm.
changed. And I think for him that was hard, you know, to see that I really love being a mom. And
Hmm.
that's why I have my business now. is that when I did my makeup business, I was gone on the weekends. I had to do, still go into the salon and all these different things. And I couldn't be home.
Yeah.
And now what I do is I'm still in a way empowering people, but I'm getting to use my mind, which is I'm really good at strategies and things like that. And also advising people to kind of make sure that they're following their dreams and keeping their authentic voice. And so I get to do that. And while I'm sitting here, I can see my kids run around in the scooter in the house and do all these things. And I'm so grateful for it. And that's what the best thing is like, I'm 38. I'm turning 39 this year. It's never too late to change, divert, or go do what you want to do that you feel that is your calling. And that's what I came into this position like by accident. Um, you know,
That's how the best things happen.
I know. And I just went for it. I just said, you know what? I was planning on staying home and just, being a mom. I closed down the makeup business and I just expected to stay home, hang out with the kids, help my husband maybe with his marketing for his business, and just do the mom thing. And it just didn't quite turn out that way. And I just ran with it. And here I am 1 year, almost a year later.
Yes, I love that you did this just to spend time with your kids and have that flexibility.
Yeah.
Because it's so important for our children to have access to us, even while we're chasing after our dreams and such. As you just witnessed, my daughter has good access to me.
Well, they got to see us. And I too, I feel like it's important for my kids to see me model me taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And doing something that feels more purpose than just being a mom.
Right.
And I wanted my kids to see that. And I see that now. I mean, my kids are like, my daughter will hold her pretend cell phone. I'm like, Ellie. She's like, Mommy, I'm busy right now. I'm on the phone working. Oh, okay, and I'll see her like pretend to like write notes and do things like that. And my son's the same way. And I see them emulating us. And it's such a beautiful thing because I want my kids to have that same type of, I feel like that's something that's kind of been lost in some ways in some people, not everyone, but I see it more and more. And it's that idea of like, that's why I want to change the digital world. On social media, everything looks so easy.
Yeah.
And it's not. It takes so much hard work. People don't see the sacrifices or things that you do to get where you need to be. And I want my kids to see that. I want them to see that, like, wow, everyone thinks mom has this awesome life, but in reality, she is doing a million things and she struggles. And we actually, like my husband and I, we don't argue in front of the kids, but we do have talks sometimes. We carefully pick things like that, and they watch us kind of solve our problems and apologize and work it out, because I want my kids to see that as a way of modeling it. And the same thing goes with my work. Like, they'll hear me on the phone telling someone like, hey, we really need to go this route. And if we don't see eye to eye, you see me breaking up with somebody, a client or whatever it might be,
right.
I want them to witness those things.
And that is so important.
It is.
I was very blessed to have parents that did that for me. My parents talked about money in front of me. They talked about their relationship in front of me, and seeing that, it makes it easier. I feel like if I didn't get raised that way, like if I didn't see all those things, that I might not be married today. Like literally, there may have been times where I just would have been like, forget it, I'm done, and walked away. I probably wouldn't have this business because I wouldn't have had that grit, like you said, to say, hey, I'm going to push through it. It's so important that our kids see us doing our day-to-day things. And I've witnessed moms like try to hide different things. I'm like, no, let them see what it is that you're doing. And if they have questions, explain it to them, because they're just little people.
Yep.
One day they're going to be adults too. They're going to have to navigate through life, and we don't really do them a service of just catering to them and only letting them see that aspect of it.
Yep.
And I feel like that just continues the cycle of moms continuously losing their identity, continuously just getting caught up in motherhood. And yeah, so I said all that just to say I commend you on doing all those things in front of your kids because it's so important.
I'm glad you said it because I do. I see friends, my friends, like so worried about like having this perfectly, set up party or whatever it is, and they're, I mean, straight up having anxiety, and I'm like, holy smokes, And that's the thing. Like for me, like we have birthday parties and we do things for the kids, and I'm like, if we go to the store and they don't have the exact Batman decoration that you need, I'm not gonna, I tell my kids, well, let's just pick something else. What else do you like? Let's go
Right.
do this. And it just teaches them to go when there's a problem. Sometimes you just gotta divert and figure out
Mm-hmm.
a solution, right? And be okay if things don't turn out exactly as you plan, but no matter what, the outcome's still gonna be pretty great. Because
Yeah,
in
and
the
you're
end,
stressful. Thank you.
so
Because I was that mom. I was that one that was like everything had to be perfect. If you ever talk to my mother-in-law, she'll tell you my baby shower was like, she was like, okay, you're being really intense about this. Like it had to be. I'm not a big fan of pink for girls, only because I think it's overrated. I have nothing against the color pink, people.
my
So
dad will pick a bone with you. That's her
yeah,
favorite
like
color.
what's wrong with pink? There's nothing wrong with the color pink. It actually used to be my favorite color. My favorite color is now purple, but I just had an issue with like little girls having everything pink, which slapped me in my face. Daughter's favorite color is pink now, so everything's pink. But I was so serious about that baby shower, but my stress level was really high during that time, and I was pregnant, so that was stupid.
It's
But
overwhelming, yeah.
yeah, and as soon as I started, like again, like we said, 2019 must have been that year because 2019 was when I just dropped off and was like, you know what, I can't be this serious about everything. Like I have gotten in arguments with my husband about things not going the way I planned it, and honestly, I've been like way less stressed. My anxiety level dropped. So you're right, like
Yeah.
that trying to make everything perfect is not worth it.
That was exactly. I wasn't super particular like when parties things, but like how to raise my kids. I read all these different like parenting books and like apply this. Send my husband like audiobooks because I feel like he's not going to read. Like I try to control the situation and try to control the way people's going to think how our home's going to be done. And I finally, that's what it happened. Kind of like 2019. It was like, okay, you know what? We only can do the best we can do and put our heart into it. And so for our children, our family, our home, the best way we can,
Hmm.
and give ourselves some grace, give our home some grace. And I can't do it all and have
Right.
peace of mind.
It's not realistic. And then like the other thing that helped me was like I realized that like one, all the little moms that we see on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, either A, they have a nanny, which I mean, I don't have a nanny. So obviously there's not someone taking care of my kids. Or B, they've like structured the photos that are being
Yeah.
posted. So there might be like a mess behind that camera that we never get to see. We don't know how many times that mom changed her outfit or the kid's outfit. Because like I used to look at pictures and be like, how is their kid wearing all white and there's no applesauce,
I'll give you a
no
clue. Right.
crumbs?
I work with a lot of influencers and I build relations with a lot of all of it's practical. Anything that looks too perfect is definitely curated. And there is
Yep.
tons of outshots, tons of things. And that's what I'm wishing for more is that it's one thing to keep your feed curated, but like show behind the scene images, show the times when you're vulnerable because people get this misconception that they need to be a certain way or look a certain way or live a certain way. And this is where these unattainable goals are set, right?
Right.
Like you're supposed to look like you're like a supermodel put in
Right.
a bikini after having 5 kids and your house is like pristine. It doesn't even look like anybody lives in your house and all these different things. And it's not real. It's not realistic. And so that's kind of like where I say I'm really selective about now since it's freebie who I want to work with because I want people to even if your feed you want your feed to be perfectly curated and wonderful, but I need you to also remind people and show them that there's vulnerable moments and this is not real life. um you can tell I'm very passionate and very set
I
on
love
that.
it though.
I've had a few clients in my early on when I first started that, you know, it's a lot of Photoshop and a lot of false advertising, I guess is the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't comfortable with it. And so I intentionally rebranded and changed everything so people and changed my message and all that stuff. So it's very clear. Like this is what I want. And if you're not down with it, you probably need to go somewhere else.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful. I mean, even if it's not in a business, like in anything that you do, making sure that it's something that really aligns with your values, because that's what I've found brings the true happiness. Like when you're doing something that really aligns with your values, you're going to be happy to get up in the morning to go do it. You know, you're going to be happy to get on that phone call or do that meeting or meet that client because it's something that you actually can be happy about doing. You don't feel like you're adding to, as we've said, the toxicness of this world, you know.
Really true. And this is why I'm actually on here. I normally hate being on display a lot or like kind of talking. And I found that with the Great Social Club, it's important to me. And a part of it is I've said in a post before, it's like my legacy are my children. My children are my future. Thus
Mm-hmm.
for this company is a representation of what I am hoping for the future. I want to make role models or people that my kids I can feel okay with my kids looking up to.
For sure. And that's really important. And I think that it's amazing that you vet people. As I told you, I did the most awkward thing ever and featured myself just like day before we did this. And that was one of the things that I mentioned in my features. Like I make people fill out a form. I won't take $1 from anyone until I know that I can help you, because I can't help everyone. I understand that. Like I have to have a connection, and B, that it's someone that I actually can connect with in a sense where it's going to be valuable on both ends. Because even with like your business, if you took on a client that wanted all the extra Photoshop and you were doing it just for the money or just to add to your client base, you're also not doing them a service, because you're not necessarily giving them the best of you, because there's a part of you that's like, I really don't want to do all this Photoshop, you know? And it's really critical that we give people the best of us when we're in
And
a
I
form of
realize
service.
that. And I don't judge people who want to, you know, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. And so like I've now thank goodness, like somehow in this last year, I've partnered up and met different people from all different types of different PR people, different agencies and things and like that. So even if you don't, let's say I work with you and you're not the best fit for me, I say, you know what, this might not be the best fit, but let me, you know, I'm like, you know, I know this is like something you're passionate about. I'm not going to tell them like, well, you're, you know, because you Photoshop too much, I'm not into you, you
Right.
know. I just like, you know, I'm not the right fit for you, but here's a couple names and people you can contact that I
Right.
feel would align with more of what you're looking for, that you will benefit and grow from, you know. And that's kind of a
Beautiful.
good at, because I think everyone has their own journey and what they need to do for whatever reason to discover themselves or figure it out. And I kind of just like I'm happy to give you another door, you know.
Right.
It's not
Not
my
just closing it all together.
just my door. But if you later on decide you want to come to my door because you're ready for it, I will happily embrace you into my life, because I have really deep relationships with my clients and my talent because my heart is in it. And that's what it is. That's for me, that's I think nowadays too, that's what it's all about, is like these little smaller type of businesses are coming and these specialty niches in a way
Mhm.
where you really find your tribe. You know, you find the kind of people that you want to work with. And there's so many people in this world. Why can't we all find our tribe and kind of create our own little community where we all help each other succeed?
Exactly.
You
And
know?
that's kind of like even what I've learned from this. I've met some amazing moms, including yourself already, and it's only January. Like, and it's been pretty phenomenal just to see like how different we are, but also like now I have like a list. It's like you said, like a list of moms where if somebody's looking for a specific service, I'll be like, hey, go check out Natalie. She does PR. Go check out this mama. She does this. So it's really cool to have a community that you can relate to, but you can also kind of like lean on when someone
Yeah.
comes to you wanting something that you don't necessarily do. So when did you start a the is it the Great Social Club? I'm saying it wrong. I knew I was going to do that. It's just Great Social Club.
Yeah, Great Social Club.
I keep wanting to add a or the at the beginning, and it's not
And
there.
like, I'm okay with it too. You can.
I just want to make sure I am getting it right. It's just Great Social Club. Like even before we got on, I was like, okay, Great Social Club, Great Social Club, and then I said the Great Social Club.
I mean, if we say it in the sentence, like if you the Great Social Club, or yeah, no, it's just Great Social Club, but you can say the.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to be like butchering your business name.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, so when did you start it? I know we kind of talked about the pandemic a lot and about that being a like a turning point for your life in general. Did you start the business
So
pre-pandemic?
it started as, like I said, social media management in January, early January, right before the pandemic, actually.
Okay.
And then I had a person, kind of like an acquaintance in a way. They kind of relocated from here to LA. They were an influencer kind of field, but kind of wasn't doing it too much anymore. And at some point, I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll do like a social media company, kind of get her on her feet and help her out. And then it just kind of progressed to me actually managing her and kind of helping her from there. And I kind of felt like I was like, oh shoot, I'm kind of good at this. And I developed the LLC, and it kind of just progressed from there to what it is now. And then from that time to when I did the relaunch on January 1st of 2021, I would say probably maybe in September or October, days and months and everything kind of melts together.
Yeah.
Somewhere around then, I was kind of just I had a couple little heartaches and kind of some falling out and different things like that with people that I had worked with and things like that, and experience of people I didn't want to work with. And I decided that I really needed to focus on my branding, and I really needed to make a clear message, because I kind of like threw the website on Squarespace and like it was like, wish me luck, here I go. And I realized there were certain types of people I really liked working with and some I didn't, and I just needed to have a really clear voice. So I actually hired another mama to help me with my branding and my website, another mom to help me with my photos and my professional headshots and things like that. And oddly enough, this whole thing had to come together with a group of women, and people were just getting curious about what I was doing, and a lot of the times it came from people I knew or had relationships with, to represent them either as a management or as helping them with their getting them press or just a little more exposure on social media and online. And so it just kind of blossomed from there. And then I decided to do that rebrand. And ever since I did it, I have such a clear vision now, which I'm grateful for. And it was the first time I always invest in my business, but I always invest, it's always like website and things like that. I always try to do it myself because, I'm just like, I don't know. I have like, that's where I get a little controlling. And finally I just kind of when I let that go and I kind of pulled people to actually help me and invest in that way, it is more than I ever imagined it to be. So
lovely. Yeah. Mamas helping mamas, women helping women.
Well, the best thing is, like, you're on the phone. If your kids are screaming in the background, it's another mom. She's like, oh, it's all right, girl, I got you. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. We're like, I gotta go, and then come back. Where were we? And it's fine. And it's a relief because it's I don't feel as stressed that I have to be like always buttoned up and serious. Because moms get it.
Right. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, like I keep saying, like you saw my little one just came down earlier, and I'll probably like cut that little piece out, but it just came down. Just like, what you doing? So that is probably also like, I never really thought about it, but it's definitely another reason why I like working with parents in general, but especially moms, because I don't feel as much like I need to apologize for it.
Yeah.
Because especially after the pandemic, like I've slowed down. I still do, and I'm working on that, apologizing for like my child interrupting. Then I remember like so many people are working from home now, and if you don't get that people work from home and have children and have lives, then you're probably not my person. You're
Yeah.
not, you know. And so it's so beautiful to be able to work with mamas and have
Yeah.
people that you can just call and they know what it is that's going on and they don't care because
We don't realize how inspirational we are. Like, I didn't even consider myself like, I mean, I know I'm like, people say I'm inspirational, but at the same time, I'm so, sometimes having that attention is like awkward for me. And some of the talent I work with, they're young, they're single, they're single women, kind of still finding themselves, and they see me posting pictures with my kids or, doing something along that line. So they realize everything that I'm doing for them. And then they hear my kids in the background. They're like, oh, what are you doing now? I'm feeding the kids while I'm talking to you.
right.
Like, wow, like you're such a great mom, and it takes me a minute to take that compliment. And I stop, and after I hang up and I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I just I made dinner, I bathed them, I fed them, I read them a book. I managed to also help with getting an interview done or a photo shoot done or something along these lines with my client. And on top of that, I still made room for my loved ones. I was like,
Right.
yeah, that's pretty,
That's pretty major.
I was gonna say like that's pretty DMN awesome.
You're fine. I have a potty mouth myself. I try to like tone it back, but yeah, I'm not against anybody posting.
But yeah, I was like, like, dang, that's pretty good. And I think about that, and that's what has taught me is to take those moments, stop, and give gratitude to yourself, to others when we praise you, because it's true. And you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to look at yourself and say, yeah, you know what? That's not easy. And I did it,
We
even
take that for granted too often.
we do. Even if it's a lazy day, it's like a lazy day. You roll out, you never take a shower, you stay in your pajamas, you fed the kids, you love them, they're happy, and you spend some time with them. That's a good day. And it's not easy. Even those days are not easy,
And
So
I love that you said that because it's so important that you give yourself that much credit, and because it's hard to sometimes like you can end the day being like, oh, I didn't get anything done. But if you really reflect on that day, you probably actually did. They were just small things, but those small things matter. Like you washed the dishes today, pat yourself on the back, mama.
yeah, I know.
You made a home cooked meal, pat yourself on the back. It's time consuming, it's a lot of work, and especially if you carved out like some extra time for yourself, for your business, pat yourself on the back. Like it's work. It's not like I talk about balance all the time, but it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy at all. Like there's a lot to juggle. I know when we first started talking, you talked about all the different things that you are, but yeah, beyond just being a mom, beyond just being an entrepreneur, and those things are things we carry with us every single day.
Yeah. So there's a beautiful concept. There's my coach Tom, he always says there's a wheel. And you pick like different elements, family, home, relationships, work, spirituality, da 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 da. And I kind of keep track of that wheel, and you kind of pay attention to where it feels like it's falling a little flat, right? Because it needs to stay about even. That's the same concept of you have balance, a balanced mom, like balanced life, balancing those things. And that's kind of how now it's helped me learn how to measure. I kind of have this like brain in my wheel, like even the categories change from time to time, but it's enough to say, am I feeling flat a little somewhere? Something feeling a little empty. And I do it about once a week. I guess it's in a way it's my form of meditation. just kind of self-reflection about where am I lacking and why is that lacking and what can I do to, is it my mindset or is it something that I actually can do to change it?
Right.
And kind of, and it's never perfect. I mean, I have to do it like 20 million times over again so I get it right. But it's that constant thing to just make sure you're checking in on you.
Yeah.
You gotta.
It's not about perfection. It's
No.
it's progress. It's changing all the time. I'm sure you know because you have kids who are 4 and 5, so you've been through a few different transitions.
Yeah, I'm still going through one. My daughter is now on the point where she's like talking back and lying,
Yeah, we're
and
doing
it's
that
like,
too right now.
I'm like, oh my goodness, my son's so laid back and he just has this really chill demeanor. My daughter, and I keep telling myself, this is a good thing. She's showing that she's going to be a strong woman. I just need to make sure I divert her in the right direction, but she's laying it just flat out lying, like, are you you're holding a cup? No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. What are you talking about, Mom?
Hide it. And I'm like, and it's just like, it's been challenging and she's questioning, and it's part of growing. I mean, we do it now still as adults. It's just in a more simple form when you're younger. So it's hard. There's a lot of transitions and I can even see it more and more happening. Even at 4, they like boys.
Yeah.
Boyfriends. I'm like, how do you know about boyfriends?
My daughter asked me like when she was gonna get her prince, and I was like, how do I answer that? First of all, like, I don't know. Like, I can't give you like a specific age.
when you do,
Yeah.
My daughter's like, what is, do you have a boyfriend, Mom? I'm like, yeah, your dad.
They're so grown. Like I joke all the time, like I didn't expect to go through this until she was like 16.
Yeah.
But yeah, my daughter is in that same stage. She's only a year behind your daughter. She'll actually be 4 in March. And so we are dealing with sass, like.
Yeah. Oh, outfit. This morning we had an argument about, so I put a Mickey Mouse dress on her.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's too itchy. She's never complained that it's itchy. She didn't want to wear it. And so then I go, fine. So I put a shirt on her. It's a pink shirt. And because I think it wasn't pink. And then she was like, no, I need a pink dress. Otherwise, I'm not going to be beautiful. And I need to be beautiful to go to school. And I looked at her. I was like, well, you're wearing this pink shirt. And I was like, you're not wearing the pink dress because I'm not going back upstairs to grab a pink dress and search for one for you to wear. And, and she just kind of cried the whole way through. I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's life. You don't have everything you want, get dressed. Here's your applesauce. Get out the door, fine,
Girls.
That's our constant conversations just about her questioning anything that I do now, or like it's not her taste level.
Oh yeah. I took my daughter to Target and she's like, everything in Target was fancy, first of all. And so I wasn't supposed to be buying anything. First of all, Target is rude because every time I go in there, I spend more money than I intended to. I went there to make a return and I ended up spending every dime that I returned on her. But like everything was fancy. I actually posted a video of her like just grabbing earrings off the little thing. And I'm like, no, you gotta put that back. So she's putting it back. But everything that was pink or sparkly or had princesses on it, she's like, oh, that's fancy. Oh, that's fancy. I was like, okay, Miss Fancy, we can get 2 things. So she goes and she picks out these pajamas with Minnie Mouse on them. And I saw some Paw Patrol slippers. And I was like, oh, these are kind of cute. So I was like, would you like these? She's like, yeah, mommy. And so then she sees a sweater. She's like, ooh, and I want that. I said, you can get 2 things and you know how to count. Like 1, 2. She's like, well, I want pajamas, slippers, and a shirt. I was like, how many items is that? She's like, 2. Like, really?
I sounds like our daughters would get along.
Yeah, they're sassy. They know what they want.
They do. They do. Well, I put a headband on her. It's like make your own jewelry kit. And you pop it in. And the headband didn't have any of the little fake gems. And she goes, I can't wear this without, I can't wear my crown without my jewelry in it. And I'm like, well, mommy's not gonna, I'm like, I don't know where your jewelry box is. And I go, we gotta go. And so and she's like, this just doesn't look very good. So of course she came home, shoved it in her backpack and refused to wear it to school. But that's fine.
Yeah, my daughter's that way with her hair. Like if she doesn't like her hairstyle, she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, you asked for puff balls. She's like, I don't like them. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to do? Or you have to leave? Like, it just took me 30 minutes to comb your hair in puff balls. And now it's not good enough for you.
It is a lot, but like I said, we just got to remember this just means that they know what they want, and we just got to navigate them so they're good people.
Yeah, because like right now, if we put our daughters together, they would totally be mean girls.
Yeah, totally. My daughter says things sometimes, and I'm like, that's not very kind. She goes, I wasn't trying to be like, it just, and I'm like, where did you get this? Like, where are you getting this from?
I mean, I love the honesty. I love that part of it, but it's kind of like, it is nice to just be nice sometimes.
There's times when you're like, I'm like, oh, mommy has a headache. Oh, mama, do you need, let me take your temperature and tuck you in, and tells everyone to be quiet because mama has a headache.
That's when like, oh, they are good. Yeah. You're so good.
Yeah. A friend of mine just had a baby, and she's like, Natalie, she had a daughter, and she goes, oh my God, do you are you obsessed and love them like this forever? I go, oh yeah. I go, always. And like, I was like, God purposely made children when they sleep, your children, and you look at them, they look like angels. So then you forget everything they did that made you mad or annoyed you.
Right.
And I go, and then you love them again. And then sometimes you get cursed with wanting more. Mm-hmm. Because they're so cute.
And that is so true. I see her sleeping. I'm like, oh, you would be such a good big sister. And then I'm like, then she wakes up and she's like, no, I'm not going to clean my room. I'm like, do I want 2 of these?
And then you go through it all over again. And I was like, and it's so true. I mean, even now, sometimes I'm like, I see someone have a baby and I'm like, oh my gosh, that baby smell.
Oh, babies have the best smell, like newborns. I love it.
And when they look at you, like, so I nursed both of my kids forever. And when I would nurse them, I remember them looking at me like I'm a goddess, like, you're the best thing in the world. I love, you can tell like they need you so much. And it was such an empowering feeling. And sometimes I miss it. And then sometimes I don't. Well, a lot of times I don't. And I don't know, some of the moms said, I love nursing. I was like, I love nursing in letters. But the time I felt like I was in jail.
Yeah. There was like definitely pros to it, but I remember specifically complaining about it. And that's like what I try to keep in my head was like, you didn't love this as much as you think you loved it now that you're not doing it. Like, I love the bond. Like, breastfeeding is like such an amazing bond, but like being bit is the worst.
Yes.
It's the absolute worst. And then I struggled with like actually producing for a while. So like that was stressful. Yeah. And then it's that thing of like being out and about and you've got to find somewhere to go nurse because like everyone looks at you funny if you just pop and move out and feed your kid, which I mean, I'm a much more private person than some people. So like I always wanted to be somewhere private anywhere. But I also kind of feel like if a mom wants to pull her breast out and feed her child, she should. But
I had that like little like apron thing.
I had one of those too.
It only worked for so long until they actually learned how to like move their limbs.
Yeah.
And like my husband, I'm like, and I'm, you're so tired sometimes when you're out and you just want to get out, but you gotta have this kid attached to your boob. So then I'm this, and my husband's like, honey, and he's like, I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh,
right.
Like,
you don't notice because all you feel is like there's a child sucking out all the energy that you have.
That is exactly it. And that's why I remember like, people telling me like, oh, nursing is like the most wonderful thing in the world.
Because they're not currently doing it.
So like, oh my God, this is going to be I'm going to feel like, some kind of, I don't know, like some fertile goddess. I don't know what the heck I
Right.
was feel. And one, the part when you were worried that you weren't producing enough or you couldn't even measure, especially when you're a new mom. And then when I started doing it, there were moments when I did like it, especially because it helped the baby sleep or be quiet and et cetera, et cetera. But then I remember there were times when I just like, I was like, I just want to be alone.
Or like when you have to wake up with the newborn at 2 a.m. because they're hungry and dad can't do it because he's not producing milk and
Yeah.
you're all out of pumped milk. Like there's pros and cons for sure. Like I will breastfeed all my future children just because
Yeah.
I think that personally, I feel like that's the best thing that we can do. As long as I'm able to, I plan on doing it, but it is stressful in a lot of ways too.
And
Like I think every stage is.
I really did feel like I was in jail sometimes. I was like you stuck in like there, and I think postpartum was a part of it too, like early on.
Oh yeah.
It took me 7 months to figure out I had postpartum with my son. And it was because people make it sound really like it's really intense, and they don't realize sometimes it can be this like it's just really subtle. And that's what I had. It was really subtle, and no one really noticed it, you know. And it only took for me to realize like I was like kind of like mad at everyone, and I wasn't my normal self. And I was like overprotective of my child, my son. And I called my doctor. I was like, hey, I was like, so I've been looking online. They don't really quite talk about exactly what postpartum is. Like, I think I'm supposed to want to die or hurt my kid or something. I don't
Right.
think any of that. I go, but I kind of don't like everyone else, and I don't want anyone around my kid, and I'm not happy. That was pretty much it. Like, I'm just not happy at all. Like, I want to pack my stuff and go find my mom, go back east, and cry in my mom's arms and make my mom help me take care of the baby and just us.
And I honestly feel like what you experienced, because it's very similar to how my postpartum was, I think that's actually more common than the postpartum that we talk about all the time.
It is.
I didn't actually realize that I had postpartum depression until after I didn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know. And it was just like a reflection of like, I really wasn't happy and I was really stressed out. And I remember like wanting to yell at her to go to bed. And she's like, she's a newborn, right? And it's like, why? And it was postpartum depression. It was just a milder case. Like I didn't want her to die. I didn't want myself to die. I didn't want to not be her mom or anything like crazy that I didn't like lock myself in a room or anything, but I still didn't like people.
Things, and sometimes like mentally what you think it's in your head. You're like, God, it's so freaking annoying. Like, what? And that's what I said, like feeling like being a nursing home. I felt like I was in jail. It's like, I feel like I'm in jail. I'll never like this is going to be like this for the rest of my life. Blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And literally, as soon as I went to the doctor, they took the little test. Like, yeah, it seems like you have a little anxiety and a little, whatever. And they're like, do you think maybe you need to see a therapist, if you need to talk it out with someone or find someone to talk to? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was there like, well, I think it was like, I'm not promoting drugs or anything, but I get on Lexapro. It was like 5 milligrams of really low dose. About 3 months in, the fogginess cleared, and I was like normal. Like I was just like myself, and I was like, oh my God, that was postpartum, and it took me 7 months of kind of being like a wreck to have, and well, more than, and then 3 months later, I had to be on the medication to really. Right. It took 3 months for it really to just
clear up,
kind of like click, and I was like, and my husband's like, holy smokes! So when we had our daughter, I was like prepared to anticipate that, and I think even just being mentally prepared for it, I actually ended up not needing to be on the Lexapro, and the postpartum was a lot easier there because I learned how to talk about it to people, ask for help when I needed it, did the kind of self-help I needed to do to not. I was still. They still go through that transition, but it wasn't as intense. Because I swear, and I felt good because I knew I already had, my doctor had already given my prescription, and I knew that what exactly when I started feeling, if I started feeling anything where I felt like truly helpless or just not myself, that I already had that there, and I knew that this was gonna pull me through.
Mhm.
And it was a blessing. I mean, I'm grateful that I was like self-aware enough to realize that, and I wish that more people talked about it for new moms, because I think that's one of the things that we suffer with the most, is that when we first have our kids, no one kind of explains to you that, you don't have to be super emotional to feel even just being overwhelmed, you
Yeah,
know.
I think that it's such a like black and white of what motherhood's gonna look like. And there's so much gray in there that we don't talk about. Like, for one, I was shocked I had to wear basically a diaper home. Nobody talks about that. Like, I'm like thinking I'm gonna be like all these people, like I'm gonna have the baby, I'm gonna lose the weight, and I'm just gonna like continue living my life with like a miniature me, right? It was like so delusional. And I did like my mom and my mother-in-law, they were both very, very good with like giving me some doses of reality. But yeah, I didn't think I was gonna have like a little squirt bottle in a diaper to go
Yeah.
home with me. Like, what is this? I had no idea that postpartum came in like several different levels, and it's just so many things that you don't really realize, and with your first kid especially. And I do agree with you. We need to talk about those gray areas more as women, because we only do ourselves a disservice and our children a disservice when we don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
I that was probably one of the hardest thing. And then like culturally it was hard too, because my mom would like finagle all these like Vietnamese, like I don't know, like she gave me these rocks that you put in the water, you sit in it, and like supposed to help you with, but I had a
We're like
sea.
crystals or something.
Yeah, like it's kind of like sitz baths, but it's like I don't know, some kind of like rock. They're like Chris. They look like Chris. I don't know what the heck they were. It was like not even in English. The bag, it wasn't even Vietnamese. It was like Thai or something. And she like goes and ships it over. It's like freaking sack of rocks, and you put it in, and they dissolve. But it's not like Epsom salt, or I don't know what it was. And I told my mom, I was like, well, I can't even use it because I ended up having a C-section. So it was like, well, it's not going to do me any good, mom. I know having a
Right.
C-section. And like, oh, just all this like stuff. And it was just, I'll just never forget that. But we do need to have those talks, even culturally. Sometimes certain things happen, and like there's certain things that are important to you. And I feel like it's so important to have this discussion, because sometimes they don't talk about it.
Oh yeah. Like my daughter had bluish marks on her. I had no idea what Mongolian marks were.
Oh yeah.
I was like, why is she green? And they're like, oh, that's normal. Well, somebody want to tell me that before I give birth to a green child?
Yeah. Yeah. My both of my kids had that. And thank goodness my doctor was like, he's had a lot of experience. He goes, oh, those are Mongolian marks. He goes, da, da, da. And usually Asian people of Asian descent tend to have it too. And I'm like, oh. And then I called my mom. She goes, oh yeah, you have it too. She goes, it means you're descendants of Genghis Khan. I'm like, okay, mom.
Yeah, I read like all sorts of like random like old wives' tales of what it meant, and I'm like, I think it's just the complexion thing.
I know. I was like, okay. So, but it was cute. That's what I mean. There's like little things like that kind of come up. And my mom was like, eat a lot of carrots to help make milk and make the soup. And I was just like, good Lord. So, but it is important. I think in other societies too, they have this like, when you have a kid, the mom gets bed rest for quite a while, and you have a
Yeah.
whole community kind of supporting you. And we don't have, I feel like here in the States specifically, like they don't prioritize that as much. I feel like
No,
it's
they really
slowly
don't.
conversations starting to come up about it, but I feel like that's something that needs to be addressed more, because I feel like if we could celebrate motherhood and celebrate new life, and show a community, a business, a company, everyone kind of supporting you through it, you heal faster, you recover faster, and you're even more efficient, and there is a sense of duty, right? Like people take care of you, there's a sense of loyalty, I feel
Right.
like, that comes with it. And
Yeah,
so
I know for that purpose, like My goal at least is not to have a hospital birth the next time around because of that. And actually my cousin, she like is really into like natural births and all that kind of stuff and all the resources. So she's helped me a lot in figuring out like the different ins and outs of like getting a doula and doing all that. I just feel like that would help like be more connected to the experience. And that's really what I want the next time around, is to be a bit more connected to what's going on with my body and what's going on with my child and
Yeah.
what to expect afterwards. I mean, obviously having had my first child, that helps a heck of a lot, because it's like, oh, I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
second time around's way easy because
I keep hearing that.
more prepared, and I've learned how to advocate for myself a lot more and not have to grit through the pain. Like
Mhm.
sometimes I don't want to take pain meds because I'm scared it's gonna go in my milk, and I went on like this whole spiel, and I let myself suffer. And the second time when I had my daughter, I had to have another C-section, just because I could not. I don't know if it ever like deliver vaginally, just wouldn't open up, and I did it again with my daughter. And that second time around, I was so much more self-aware about what I needed and to make sure I stayed on top of my medication so I wouldn't have that pain, and I was a better mom for it.
Yeah.
And I was more aware, and I wasn't focused. Like, you don't realize that when you're not taking care of yourself, you don't realize you're not as efficient as you could be. And I healed
Right.
significantly faster.
And you have to know, like, me personally, I'm not really big on medication, but you just have to know, like, when it's important to take something, because that's why at this point,
I'm the same way.
this is why they've created medicine. Like, I'm not going to take every single medicine out on the market, but if it's something where it's necessary, then it's necessary. You have to still take care of yourself.
The nurses look at me like I was bananas, and I was like, no, I don't want it. And I just grit through, being so uncomfortable. And then later on, I was like,
Shit took it.
I should have took it,
Yeah, I took the epidural. I was like, I'm going to have a natural birth. And then I didn't sleep the night before. And I was like, yeah, is it too late for that? So I'm not going to make it.
I know.
So yeah, I absolutely needed it. Sorry guys, we have like totally gone off.
No.
On this whole mom tangent, but like seriously, these are things that are part of our lives. This is kind of what it means to be mamas.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to like over talk and create a conversation as if this is so long, because I know I've been like,
no, you're fine. You're fine. Probably what I'll end up doing, just for like the fun of this is like giving people like little times. Like if you want to learn more about pregnancy, you can skip to this. I think that'll probably be useful in this one, but I love it. I love the natural flow of things anyway. But getting back to Great Social Club, are your children currently involved in any way with your company?
No, they're not. They're just my cheerleaders in the background. You'll catch them in a Zoom meeting or something like that, but they're not right now. The only thing they're involved in is that they are the legacy of my business. So, like I said, like everything that I'm doing is that I want to make an imprint, no matter how big or small, just to try to create a better world, a better digital community for them. So, setting an example to show them what, you don't always have to keep up with the Joneses. You need to just have your own path and be authentically yourself. Authenticity is everything to me. So
awesome. So it sounds like you do have some plans of incorporating them a little bit more as they get older.
I think so. I kind of go with the flow. So I think if they're interested in it, I have a feeling my daughter will be more so than my son. My son's kind of likes doing his own thing. But I can see my daughter wanting to be more into it. And I mean, I already see her, chiming in and pretending to do her own stuff. Like, hey guys, good to see you.
So cute. Well, we might have a little mini Natalie in the Great Social Club soon.
She's gonna be like the VP.
Hey, she might just take your CEO spot the way she tells you, like, no, we're not doing that.
I know. You might.
I also can see my daughter like trying to take things over. She's a trip.
An interview piece with her, maybe? Like
You
have
said
her
what?
interview someone?
I didn't hear you.
Would you ever consider having her like interview someone or do her own little mini interview for fun? I don't know, that'd be kind of cute.
I might like maybe in the next year or so I might. Like right now she's like off the rails. And just like when she came down here and she's like telling you where her dad is, I'm like, girl, like have some decency about like not telling everybody all of our business. Like please and thank you. So like right now she's like way too vocal about like everything that's going on. She told my mom the other day that I threw her into the bathtub. And I was like, I did not throw, and I'm pretty sure this is what I said. It was like, okay, go upstairs so I can throw you in the tub. Like, but it wasn't like a literal throw. And obviously my mom knows me. She knows better than the fact that I like threw my child in the tub. But it's like right now she just says some really raw things. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want you interviewing people, but maybe in the future. Because she is very surprising in the different ways that she's put words together. Last year for Mother's Day, she's like, Mom, look, I'm sticking my tongue out in the mirror. We were at her grandmother's house, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was on the phone with my mom at the time because we live close to my husband's mom, and my mom's a few hours away. And she's like, come do it with me and do it purplely. I was like, purplely? Like, what does that mean? And so my mom was like, I think she means purposefully. And so I was like, do you mean purposefully? She's like, yeah. So I did it. She's like, you didn't do it purplely. It was like, so she is like really, really interesting with her personality. And I think she would be great at doing things like this. And she already like mimics everything that I do. So I have to be really careful about like what I say. Like yesterday, no, this is like a couple days ago, her dad kicked one of her toys and he was like, oh, F and S. And then we just hear her in the background, oh, F and S.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh no, my kids, I've heard them say like they're like GD it. And I'm like, huh? And they're like, and I'm like, don't say that. They're like, but mama, you say it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, you know,
yeah,
we got to be careful about that too. And
very
sometimes
careful.
I have to tell them like, okay, well, you know what? Like, don't say it at school at least, please, or you're gonna go and get in big trouble. As you know. But surprising, everyone always says how great our kids, are when they have them over. Or
Question that every time people say that because I'm like, she's never that great at home. They're, oh, she was phenomenal. She took care. She cleaned her toys up, and I'm like, are you sure you're talking about my child?
Yep.
And the first time that she said a bad word though, I remember thinking like, ha, to my husband. I'm thinking like, got you. Like you cursed in front of the kid. I was like, where'd you get that from? She's like, you. I'm like, don't tell your dad. Didn't get that from me. But yeah, I think that it will be fun down the line to get her involved. Right now, she's just the cute pictures of me and her on Instagram for the moment and cute videos, but I don't know if I want her to run things quite yet. So as far as like advertising, especially with you being in PR, what are some of your like top sources for advertising?
Truthfully, one of the top sources are for me for Gray Social specifically. It's been kind of a grassroots way. So I've been actually organically kind of filtering through people that I want to work with and reaching out to them directly or showcasing them through Great Social Club and just kind of really building relationships. That's kind of how I like personally to network and for my business. Whenever I do my clients, everything kind of varies and customizes. But the strongest thing is Facebook ads. And really just creating real engagement. So you kind of, and just kind of what I do too, you kind of seek and you make sure you write people back and you stay on top, newsletters and emails, joining groups and just finding people that align with your niche or what you're seeking or what you're offering. For me personally, all my success in all the business, my two businesses I've done, and even with my husband in his real estate business, is just making real connections with people. And now with social media, we can do that so much. So send a message when you see them have a win. Send a genuine message and say congratulations, on the new book. and I'm so excited to read it and actually go read it because it's
Right.
something you're interested in. It's something that you care about, and I think that resonates with people so much more now. And I think that's really one of the most important things, and that's really what I do. Like when I see um, a digital creator, aka influencer, I don't like using that term as much because I feel like they should be influencing but not being an influencer because it just has such a different connotation now with it.
Yeah, and I
Um,
kind of feel like everyone to some degree is an influencer in some way or another. You know, there's
yep.
someone that you're influencing, and especially us moms, we have kids, we're influencing every single day. So I definitely can see your point there. And
So when I work with someone like that, I actually watch them for quite some time. Usually I end up actually just liking their platform, their message, their content. And then I just start supporting them. And then when they have a collaboration they do, I share it and I'm excited about it. And then once from there, I kind of say, okay, you know what? I've been watching you for a while. I would love to consider to have you a part of Great Social Club. Would you be interested in working with us in some capacity or whatever it may be? And lately now, I'm all about manifesting. Um, I feel like I've manifested that message out and I've made it really clear in my actions and the things I do, um, that it has come back and people are now seeking me. And they are exactly the same vibration, the same energy, everything that I'm looking for in whether it's a client or a talent. And I've been really grateful for that. So I don't know, just kind of that for me is my secret recipe that I'm sharing with you guys. But I mean, in a professional sense, usually I have them do a lot of press releases. I do a lot of I have a lot of opportunities for clients to, for example, do guest writing and different things like that, or be quoted as an expert in their field. And I kind of walk through a really holistic kind of thing. It's like mind, body, and soul, um, to work with them to try to make sure they are representing their best selves. And again, their voice has to be authentic. Your voice has to be authentic. Otherwise, people can read it from a mile away if you're not really, your heart's not into it.
right.
So
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what's really setting businesses aside today is authenticity, because at this point, with so many ways to actually see what's going on with different companies and how people really are, we're in a society now where no one's really going to take your BS. Like they're going to know, like, no, that's not real. And so many people are getting fed up with these fake images of what life looks like and what a product might do or a service is really for, that now they can like literally see through it. Like we can't as people keep faking it because people are going to see through it now. So
that's
it's
the rise of
pretty
TikTok.
awesome.
So like for example, like TikTok's a really great platform. I've been encouraging a lot of my clients who kind of like Instagram's a lot harder to grow on Instagram. In
Mm-hmm.
a way, that's why I say honestly, whenever you're doing a business and things, Facebook ads is usually the best thing. Like sometimes I'm like, don't even bother on Instagram right now. If you're just, especially if you're doing just like a regional kind of reach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so like a lot of times TikTok is so great because TikTok is like everyone that doesn't like to be on Instagram in a way. So, and people are just a lot more authentic, right? They're talking about things, they're talking about issues. You have 60 seconds, you're being filmed. You can't freaking edit that, you know? Because if
Right.
you got little bunny ears, they know it's a filter.
Right.
Your eyes, you know? So you really are yourself. And I think people resonate with that because you're talking to them, you're connecting to them. There's even a new app called Clubhouse, which I'm like
Yeah, I love
obsessed with.
Clubhouse.
Oh God, I'm so glad. I'm obsessed with it. It's like I was telling my husband about it's like a podcast and live
Yes.
video combined. And you can raise
Like,
your hand and be a part of the conversation, like you calling in the radio when we were younger and be like, I just have a comment about, whatever, or, and I was like, it's so cool. And it's actually helped me connect with my community, the Asian community more, because that was one of the things I really want to seek. A part of it is ancestry is really important to me, and
mhm.
so it's given me a opportunity, like being in like creative Asian groups, creative leads, and kind of working within my own community and uplifting them, and it's in the short time I've been on Clubhouse, it's been really empowering just even to hear stories. Sometimes I don't like chiming in. Sometimes I'm just total lurker and I just sit there and I listen to the whole conversation, and there's so many little golden nuggets
Yes.
from through these things, and it's great. And I feel like it's such a deeper way of connecting, and I think that's what people are seeking, and that's why Clubhouse is kind of a grassroots thing. They've been doing invite only. They're still working through all their bugs. And I think the fact that you can hear a voice and you can hear the passion or the feeling behind of whatever they're sharing, and the ones that the groups or clubs or whatever that do the best are the most authentic ones. There's
Yeah.
no, it's a safe place for everyone. Everyone has opinion, and it's like it's really embracing that conversation dialogue that we've been missing, right?
Yeah, and I loved it for the same. I just invited a friend of mine to it, and that's kind of how I explained it to her. It was like it's like being at an expo and also listening to a podcast, but you can involve yourself in it, and it's so great. I've actually only spoken on it once. I've been that lurker listening to like
Yeah.
all the conversations, and there's so much that I've learned. So like being that I got into real estate, I've followed like a few different like real estate gurus and such, and you can really like tailor the information that you're going to be getting based on like who you're connecting with, which I love because I feel like Instagram's gotten away from that a lot,
It has.
because it used to be way back when they first started, you would see everything in chronological order, and I missed that because I would see kind of what was going on with each individual as it was happening, versus like, oh, this is the most popular post. I don't care all the time about the most popular post.
My explore page doesn't even match my personality.
Mine doesn't either.
And I was like, this is nothing I'm interested. Occasionally I'll catch like a great quote, but like most of the time it's nothing even I'm interested in. And really I want to see, like on my personal, I want to see what my friends and the people that I like and care about or interested in, I want to see those things, and I don't see it as much. And so I love Clubhouse. Like I hope it kind of just stays.
Did you set interest on there on Clubhouse?
All kinds of interest. I'm interested in everything. I put literally everything that I'm interested in. And it's funny, I didn't expect to be that into finding Asian groups to be connecting with my community. And it just kind of happened. And I don't even now I sit there and I thought about it the other night. I was like, man, I'm really into this like Asian pride moment going on. And I think maybe that was something I was missing because, being in Wyoming, obviously it's limited. And I grew really heavily in the Vietnamese culture growing up with my family. It's like, it was my first language before I learned English, even though I was born here. And I realized maybe that's what I was like missing, like that connection to my roots, and a part of my business is I want to cross over to Vietnam, which I have, but with the pandemic, we haven't been able to travel. So I've already planted some seeds over there, but I actually need to go over there and water them.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of like an amazing thing to see people like me, especially Asian Americans, of us kind of diverting out of the typical like you have to be a lawyer, doctor, or pharmacist or something along that line expectation, and see them be creatives and writers and artists and all these different things. And to know that I can help or maybe facilitate some of that, helping them with their goals, it's empowering me. So it's been a pretty great experience. I love Clubhouse.
Yeah, I do too. Anybody watching, like if you're not on Clubhouse, find someone and give you an invite. Yeah. I used all mine, so sorry, don't ask me.
WhatsApp though, they give you new invites. I just found out.
Yeah, I used all of them. Oh. So I mean, I don't know. I haven't been on in a couple of days, honestly. So I'll have to go on and see if I have more invites. But yeah, find someone to give you an invite. Get on Clubhouse because it's worth it. And you can run it in the background. Like that's what I love. Like I can be doing something else on my phone and I'm still listening to the conversation in the background. And then if I want to jump in, I can go open Clubhouse back up and just raise my hand and say, hey, even though I only did that once, but it was still pretty awesome to do.
One group, they had no subject. It was just like a blank. They didn't even put a name for the club or the chat or whatever.
They can do that?
Yeah, it was, and I came in and literally it was just like people talking and no one knew each other.
That's
and
crazy.
just talking about their day, what they're doing. And then one person just started spouting out different questions, like, like, what is your favorite boba tea place? And if anyone from LA, what's your favorite boba tea place? Name them. And like, so people would start talking about them and like, oh, okay, what kind of jelly did you like in it? And I was just like, and I was so, my husband's like, what are you listening to? I'm like, well, I'm listening to people talk about
Just random conversation.
random conversations, getting to know each other. And then there would be different, meaning more, deeper topics. And it would kind of like, you see this progression, kind of like what we're doing in a group of people. And I think that's what people want to do, right? They want to connect again. And
Yeah. And that's how you really learn about like different people, is like letting that conversation. That's why I didn't stop. Like when we went all off on like the motherhood tangent, like I didn't want to stop that, because that's how you really learn about like who people are and what's important to them, and learn about different cultures and different areas. Because I wouldn't have known that. I don't know that we have a boba tea place here in Michigan. So if I was listening, I would have been like,
here in Wyoming, Sheridan, Wyoming either.
so yeah, I think that is amazing that that platform is there to have so many conversations and to build a network. I met a lot of moms that way too. I would say like Clubhouse and Facebook were probably like the two biggest ways that I've met more people in the last couple of months, because I joined Clubhouse at the end of December. So
Yeah,
yeah, like those, you meet so many people.
you
It's
do.
pretty awesome actually. So getting into personal balance, although we've kind of like
I
touched
know.
base on it a little bit here and there, how often are you making time for Natalie?
Oh, I try to do it on, to be realistic, I try to carve at least like 3 minutes of like just really meditating. So I love collecting crystals and candles, and they're not quite tarot cards, but they're like spiritual cards. So sometimes when I feel really lost and I need an answer, I'll pull from the deck and kind of find an answer, which is already, usually you normally deep inside people already know the answer to whatever they're worried about. It just kind of gives me a center pull. So I love crystals. I have candles that I use right now. I'm using these candles from Rebels and Outlaws. It's like a makeup artist. Two makeup artists have made it. They're in New York City, and they have like crystals, and it smells so good, and it just really resonates with me. And I feel like every time I light those candles, anything I'm manifesting or any kind of worry or any kind of feeling I have, it works itself out. And I keep those 3 minutes. So I sit there, I light the candles. Sometimes I'll hold my crystal, and I just sit really quietly. Sometimes I'm not even thinking about anything. I just stare at the flame, out the window, and I do it late at night when everyone's asleep. And it's kind of how I make time for myself. Or I take a shower. If I don't have that, if I can take a bath, great. But normally I don't have time, so I take a somewhat long hot shower, and I imagine I'm just like washing away all that bad juju, and just
Yeah.
kind of reset my mind. And that's how I kind of reset my brain, is by doing those physical acts, those kind of rituals. So that's kind of mostly how I make time for myself.
Good. I'm glad that you are making time for yourself, because that is so important. Clearing your mind before doing anything, or after doing a lot, it's
So
always so great. And yes, those showers, I can meet you there on the showers. Like that is my time. I usually try to do it when my daughter's not awake, because otherwise she'll like walk in. What are you doing? I need to blow my nose. I'm like,
yep. I same here. Same here. And that's it. And now that the kids are a little bit older, I do make time to go on like short trips. So I kind of go on short trips by myself.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, I remember my husband's like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm literally sitting watching the greatest Christmas baking show in the hotel room by myself, ordering room service, because I can't even get, like, I had all these plans. I was going to see my friends, and I'm like, I don't want to even see anyone.
Yeah.
And just sit there by myself. And that was something I started actually, not 2020, just in 2019. I had just started. I did like one trip for my friend's wedding in Budapest, and then one trip for myself, and then we went to Virginia for my son, who was working on his praxis with speech and things like that. And it was the first time I really made time for myself, and it was like so freeing. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that, oh my God, this is something I need to incorporate more of. Not even just husband and wife time, which you also need,
Yes.
but definitely like some type where I'm alone and cut off from everyone, even if it's just one day.
Yeah.
So I hope to do that more when we can safely do things like that again. But in the meantime, I'm settling for long showers and midnight meditation.
Got to get in whenever you can. The pandemic definitely changed that for like how we can do it and whatnot. Like the gym was mine and then the gym closed.
Yeah.
And now I have to wear a mask if I go in the gym. And that's like the hardest thing about a workout. Like I need to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to like get creative with how we're spending that time for ourselves. If you were to have a book written about you or to write a book about your life, what would you title it?
I don't really know anything. I think that's, I mean, really, I mean, life is so, you think you have a hold on something and it gives you a whole new direction. So really it's, I think my book would be like, you know, I don't really, my name is Natalie and I don't know everything. And I probably chronicle like a whole, everything that's happened in my life saying, yeah, I think this is going to happen. This is how I visualize it. And it turns out it's either even better than I expected or a hot mess, you know,
Right.
and you kind of expect for the life to be
I like that title. I wish I would have thought about that yesterday when I asked myself the same question and didn't have an answer. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I have no idea what she's doing. Actually, I do know what she's doing now. So, last question before we wrap up is what was your biggest challenge as a mompreneur and how did you overcome that challenge?
Oh gosh, my biggest challenge is chunking time, like making
Chunky time?
Chunking time.
Oh, chunking. I was like, chunky. What does that mean?
Chunking time, like saying, okay, I'm gonna wake up and spend an hour doing emails. I'm gonna spend this and that, and I had to finally give myself some grace and realize I even though if I set a schedule or whatever it is that it's not always going to be that way. And so I think that was probably the biggest challenge is just be forgiving of myself when I didn't meet goals that I needed to meet that day or for that week. And be okay with that huge sense of responsibility because we have so many other responsibilities too. You know, and give myself grace for being a better, like a mom. Like sometimes I felt like I was like working too much and I was failing as a mom, failing as a wife. So that's probably the biggest challenge being a mom, just giving yourself grace.
Awesome. So do you feel like you've conquered that challenge?
85%.
Yay. Hey, 85 is better than 0.
No, and I'm constantly working on it, you know, and that's why I said I always have to check in with myself when I'm like feeling, and it's usually this like anxiety, stress, kind of like in your chest feeling. And when I do that, I have to like step away, check in on myself, be like, girl, you okay, Natalie? You know, take a deep breath, go drink some water. It's okay.
Go drink some water.
Send out the email and tell everyone, hey, you know what? You're not getting you know, the outline today about what the strategic plan. You're gonna wait till tomorrow. Sorry, you know, and it's okay, you know. So
yeah, sometimes we just psych ourselves out about how things are gonna go. Like I psyched myself out with the mompreneur thing about like sending out the agreement at the end, like because I thought about, I was like, oh, I probably should have done that like a long time ago. And I'm like, hey everybody, there's an update. And I like thought that it was going to be some kind of like negative response for whatever reason. And then my husband, he tells me, he's like, well, it's for their businesses too, right? It's to get their stories out there. Why wouldn't they want to share it? I was like, you're right.
Yeah. No,
So,
you're right.
Is this like that mental thing that I think we do to ourselves to psych ourselves out? But I'm glad that you have gotten 85% over that hurdle.
It's you know, it goes up and down, but I think about 85%. I've learned. That's what I said. I said 2019 was a reveal. 2020, you dug a little deeper, and I've learned to give myself, my family, and others grace.
Yeah.
We all need to do that for ourselves more.
100%. I know that was, like I said earlier in our conversation, that was something I needed to do because I was stressing the details. Like, this didn't go the way it was supposed to go. And yeah, it's not worth it.
No.
Life goes on.
even when like sometimes like I have an imagine, like I have a client, like you think it's gonna be like this perfect setup, and I'm like, holy cow, they totally were not what I imagined them to be. But I take a step back and I kind of like reevaluate the situation. I go, okay, let me give myself a little grace, a little time, and I reprocess it. And then I look at the whole situation no longer as a problem, or rather like something that we need to together like kind of figure out how to best navigate it. And it ends up
right.
That's kind of like how I've used it as, I don't know. I feel like that's nowadays that's the best way I do it. Instead of looking at everything as a problem, I just kind of like, okay, we just need to find an alternative solution.
Right. And that's really the best way to do it, because if you focus too much on the problem, it just becomes, in your head at least, a bigger problem.
You lie there and you lie in bed and you think about it and get mad at yourself. You get mad at the person or the situation, and you're like, it's so not necessary.
Yeah, just it's happened. Now let's fix it. Yep. That's kind of the whole thing. So to wrap up, what do you attribute to your success thus far in your business now that are you a year in officially, or like?
Yeah, just 3 days. What's today? The 19th. 4 days after my 1 year.
Yay, congratulations. Happy 1 year. By the time you guys are watching this, it'll actually be March, but as of this moment, happy 1 year and 4 days. So yeah, congratulations on that. So what do you attribute to the success that you have had thus far in your business?
Being myself. Just being true to myself. I found my voice, and I'm okay understanding what my strengths are. And it's, I'm kind, I'm honest, I have integrity, I'm trustworthy, I'm picky. I'm selective, and that's okay. And I want to work with this. Just being myself and just making it really clear what my expectations are for me and what you can get from me, and what my expectations are for you. So from you to me. So I think
gotcha.
That's what my key to my success has been.
Sweet. Did you freeze? No, you didn't. Okay.
I'm just sitting really still.
You were sitting. I looked up. I was like, wait, is she still here?
I said my elevator tape, my kind of little elevator speech, and it's kind of like
dead. Yeah, I was like, that actually happened to me a few days ago with my real estate coach. She was talking to me and she froze, and I'm still talking, and I'm like, why isn't she moving? This is weird. So I just wanted to make sure that didn't happen again, because I'm like, I don't want to respond if she can't even hear me. But if you could go back to speak to Natalie before Natalie was a mom, before Natalie was a mompreneur, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself, having all the knowledge that you have today?
One piece of advice I give myself is have more confidence.
Did you say have more coffee?
No. Yeah, well, that too, but no, more confidence.
Oh, confidence. Okay. I'm sorry, for whatever reason, my speakers are not like protruding out. No, it's not you. It's my speakers.
More confidence. I think I would tell myself to have more confidence, to believe in myself more, to follow my intuition. There's so many times I've had self-doubt or never thought I was good enough or worthy enough for certain things or situations. And I really needed it. That's one thing I wish I would have given. I would have had more. And tell myself, like, Natalie, you are a really special person. You are a kind person. All the qualities I had then, I still have now. I just didn't recognize it as clearly as I do. So that's probably what I give myself.
Well, I'm glad that you have that confidence now.
Thank you.
Because you are definitely a beautiful person inside and out. So I love that you got that confidence, realized how great you are, and are like living in that and showing your children that as well. So before we go, please tell everyone how they can connect with you and learn more about Great Social Club. I didn't put the in there this time. So tell them how they can connect with you, how someone that really like vibrated with your energy, how they may be able to actually work with you on maybe one of their projects.
So I'm always seeking clients. I like indie brands, small businesses, anything that you feel like you want to put a positive influence or message out there. So you can go to my website at www.greatsocialclub.com. I'm also on Instagram at Great Social Club, Facebook as well, or you can find me personally, Natalie T. Steger, on Instagram as well. And just shoot me an email. Like, don't, if there's a contact section in my website, just send me a message, say hello, tell me your story, or just anything, and don't be afraid. Even if you were like, well, I don't know if I want to do this, or there's something that I'm curious about and want some feedback, I am always happy to share knowledge and information or refer you to wherever you need to go. So even if I don't offer that service, if there's something that you are questioning or you think I might know the answer to, feel free to send me a DM or a message and I'll be happy to help.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Natalie, for being a part of Mompreneur Mondays. I know it's not until March that we get to launch this, but I'm really, really excited about it. I loved having you here with me and I appreciate your time.
Same here. Well, you have a good day.
You too.
Oops.
Okay, 1 second. You need your step stool? Okay, hurry up. Sorry. Remember I told you I had a call, sweetheart. Go get your step stool and go back upstairs, please. Whispering's not stopping it, sweetheart. Just go get it.
What am I talking to?
I'm talking to Miss Natalie, okay? Are you happy now?
Hello.
Ah!
Exactly what I was talking about. So I'm gonna let her get her step stool. I don't know what she needs her step stool for right now, but it's in the kitchen. She just helped me make pancakes this morning, and so her step stool's in the kitchen. But I don't know what she needs it for upstairs.
Sometimes my daughter's like, "Can I help you make pancakes?" I was like, "Oh no, Ellie, it's too messy today."
Why are you telling her where your father is?
And Mommy is back here with me.
Yeah, I'm here with you while Daddy works out. Yes. Now Natalie knows our life story. When you go upstairs, close your gate so you can't get out, please. Okay, well, after you go to the potty. Okay, I think we're good now.
Okay.
Motherhood.
I know. I've been hearing like little footsteps running around. I've been waiting to see if my daughter is coming in, but I don't think she knows where I am.
Yeah, I luckily can see like right here for me is my steps. So like I saw a little footprint and then I heard the creak because we were in an old house. So it like creaked a little bit and I'm like, what do you need? Yeah, so